Hey Bookaholics, and welcome back to another reading vlog. It's time for Lightfall! Good morning everyone, it's Monday morning and we are ready for Lightfall. I have gotten very Christmassy. I decided that the vibe this time was going to be Christmassy instead of Northern Lights like it normally is. I don't know, I'm just feeling like I don't get enough use out of my Christmas jumpers. So here we are. I'm going to be going through and trying to do all of the prompts for Lightfall. For anyone who doesn't know what Lightfall is, I will leave it linked down below, but it is Christmas edition of the Magical Readathon. It's just kind of like an extra one where you can accumulate points, or reputation points that are currency essentially, and you can use that to buy things from the like pretend shops and things like that. And it's all about going Christmas shopping. It scratches the itch of going shopping without actually having to spend any money. So I am very excited to be getting to these. We've got 8 shops and each shop is a prompt. So we're going to be going through that. And then there's also a bingo board where you have extra non-reading prompts, which I'm also planning on doing. So first I'll go through my TBR and then I'll go through my plans. TBR is as such. The first shop is Occult Premonitions, which is to read a book with a 4+ star rating on whichever social media you track your reading on. So I used Goodreads, and for this one I have Good Spirits by BK Borison. This currently has over 4 stars. I think it's 4.1 at the moment because it's very new. I'm going to use that one. It is a, I think, vague Christmas Carol-ish retelling. In it we are following one of the spirits, one of the like 3, I think he's the ghost of Christmas past. He has to go visit this girl, and normally he visits people that are not nice people, but this girl seems really lovely, so he doesn't understand what she needs to confront about her past. So I think it's a romance between the two, and I am very excited to give this a go. For the Owlcat Craft Cafe, it is to read a cozy read. So for this one, I'm going with one of my Tessa Dare books because it's been a hot minute since I've read a Tessa Dare book. I've gone with Once Upon a Winter's Eve. This is a Christmassy romance. I think that this is part of Spindle Cove as well. Spindle Cove is my favorite series so far of Tessa Dare's, so I'm very excited to see how I feel about this one. The next shop is Shank and Shaw, and for that one, it is to read a standalone. So for this one, I've got another Tessa Dare. It's the only standalone of hers that I can tell, and it is a novella, and that is When She Was Naughty. I am trying to pick as many short reads as I can. So far we have 1 novel and the rest have been novellas. Both the Tessa Dare ones are novellas, just so that I can keep it like short and I can change it up and hopefully get through all of the prompts, but also not try and stress myself out with reading like hundreds upon hundreds of pages. I don't know anything about this one other than that it's a Christmas romance and it's a Regency romance, and that's really the only reason I'm picking it up, and the fact that it's Tessa Dare. So when I get to it, I'll be able to give you a synopsis. The next one, which is Wallace's Wonderful Winter Wanimals, is to read a book with a winter setting. So for this one, I've gone For Deal of a Lifetime by Frederick Backman. This one is a novella. I think it's the same as Way Home Gets Longer and Longer. It's got like full page illustrations and stuff, so it's going to take me less than an hour to read, I suspect. And it is, I think, about a Christmas wish. We have a father and a son who are meeting for the first time in years, and the father has a story he needs to share before it's too late. I don't need to read much more about it. It's a novella and it's Frederick Backman, and I expect I'm going to cry. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, and obviously if I don't read it now, I'm not going to read it until next year and just going to keep languishing forever on my shelves. For the Rich Pigeon Pub, we have Read a Book with a White Cover. So I have one final Tessa Dare novella, another Spindle Cove novella, and that is Lord Dashwood Missed Out, which again has a white cover. Just a quick novella. It will probably take me about an hour to read because it's Tessa Dare. I'm very excited. For the Old Tales bookstore, we have a book with a blue cover. So for that one, I have gone with Spellbound and Ever After by Nora Roberts. This is 2 of her novellas in a binder. The cover is definitely giving me like cold wintry vibes. I don't know if it's actually a winter setting. The first one, we are following a photographer who has gone to Ireland and he keeps struggling with vivid dreams. He meets a woman there named Brynna, and she tells him that they are destined to be together. I don't know much more about it, but I am excited to see how that goes. I do like the way that Nora Roberts does romances. And then the other one is Ever After, which is, I think, a forced proximity one. We're following Elena, who has gone on a trip to Ireland. However, a storm leaves her stranded on one of the isles instead, and then she's forced to stay with her rescuer until she can get to the mainland, and I think it's a romance between the two. So yeah, I'm excited to give these a go. I think they're going to be like quick, easy, fun, and a bit cheesy, so Let's go. For Smith and Friends and Sons Arcane Goods and Such, we have a book that is between 300 and 400 pages. So I've gone for Sally Gardner's Snow Song. I don't know very much about this other than that the cover was very snowy, and I did look at the synopsis and I was like, yeah, that sounds good, but it's been a hot minute, so I can't remember what it's about, and I'll update you once I've actually read something or once I get to reading it, because I can't remember what that one's about at the minute. And then the last one is Dovanthius Flower Arrangements. That's the new shop, so it's a new release. And for this one, she kind of just said any book that came out in 2025, so that's what I have picked. I have Jester by Tim Carter. This one is, I've got an audiobook for it. I won it in a giveaway that my friend Terry hosted. I am really looking forward to listening to this one. Terry said it's really cozy. I feel like, even though I don't think it's got a winter setting at all, just the fact that it's a cozy fantasy and it's a standalone and I can listen to the audiobook throughout the week is my intention. So whenever I'm doing things, I'm hopefully going to be able to get through the audiobook, and then I'll also be able to be reading physically and digitally along the way. So lots of plans, lots to do. So I need to go get on with my day. I need to go get myself some breakfast, and I need to go potentially start a read. I think I'm going to be doing that in some kind of order. I did make a little plan for the week so that I can make sure that I'm getting to all of the prompts, both the reading ones and the non-reading ones. So I've decided that today's plan is I need to start Good Spirits. I don't think I'm going to read it all in one day because it is over 300 pages. I think it's actually nearly 4, but I need to start Good Spirits. And then I also, so some of the prompts that I would like to cover are read when dark, so I do need to read tonight. I need suggest a book, so I need to go suggest a book to someone. So I think I will go on the Discord and just see if anyone needs any recommendations, and if not, then I don't know, I'll figure it out. And then the last one that I have is Lightfall ASMR, which I was planning on listening to anyway. So I'm going to go downstairs, I'm going to put the Lightfall ASMR on, I'm going to get myself some breakfast, and I am going to potentially start Good Spirits. That's the plan. So we'll do that for now. I do think I'll go on the Discord and see if anyone needs anything suggesting. I think I'm also going to go ask for help on the, not that I particularly need any suggestions, but just so that people can fulfill that prompt. I always think that, like, you know, being on the asking end is just as helpful. So I'm going to go do that, and then we will see how I fare. Vlog. It is now a little bit later and I have managed to read the first 30-ish%, I think just over 30% of Good Spirits. So I thought I would check in with some thoughts, and so far I am really liking this one. I'm liking the humor and the banter that we've got going in here. I like almost how it's making it seem like if this were something that were to happen, it would be perceived as absurd. If you were suddenly haunted by a ghost of Christmas past, you would be very confused, and especially in this case where our protagonist doesn't seem like a particularly awful person that needs haunting. So it's been a fun ride in that sense, because I think that it's doing a really good job of depicting this in a way that feels both almost realistic because it's mocking itself, and also still feeling very immersive, and that it suits the story, it suits the tone that we're going for. We're following two characters. We're following Harriet, who is a young woman who has a strained relationship with her family. She runs an antique shop. She loves Christmas, and she's a little bit of a mess, but you know, in your typical like rom-com protagonist kind of mess. And I really like her as a character. I think that she's really well crafted while still fitting an archetype. Like, she feels unique enough, but she still fits that archetype of what we expect of rom-com protagonists. And then our main guy, who is Nolan, is the ghost of one of the ghosts of Christmas past. There's a whole organization of ghosts of Christmas past and present and future. He is one of the ghosts of Christmas past, and he is very sweet. He is quite humorous, the banter that he has with Harriet and the way that he interacts with her, especially their initial interaction. I did find that very funny. And he is equally confused as Harriet as to why on earth he is the one, why he is haunting her, why she is someone who has been chosen to be haunted. And I think that was very cute as well. So the fact they're both in the same boat of like, well, we're gonna have to figure this out together, I guess. And I'm enjoying that. So far the first third-ish that I've read, I have enjoyed. I'm looking forward to continuing. I don't know how much more I'm going to be able to say about it because, you know, spoilers and stuff, but I've read a third. My kids are going to be home soon, so I'm not going to get any more reading done now because I do need to go make lunch and things like that. So now seemed like a good time to check in, and then hopefully I'll be able to check in tonight. I have been rather hesitant to be filming at night. I know I need to get like some B-roll of me reading at night to prove that I did read when it was dark, so it's part of the prompt. But aside from B-roll, I don't know if I'm going to do an update at night because my camera has just been like, it's never been great at picking up footage at night, but normally, like, at least with my ring light I could make it work, but lately it's just not working very well at night. Like, this level of clarity that I can see on the camera, it's just not a thing that I can get in the dark anymore. So I think I might leave it and then just update in the mornings. Like I said, I'll try to get some B-roll tonight. Even if I get to a good place to stop before I go to bed and I've got plenty of time to still update and chat, I might still just leave it for the morning and just make a note on the basis that, yeah, like the footage has just not been coming out the way I want it to. And I do want these vlogs to like feel nice, you know, like I want to watch them and like enjoy the look of them. I don't want to be like, oh, that clip looks awful. I hate that feeling for myself. I know that I think most of you aren't fazed by that, but I hate it. So it's something that I don't want for my clips when I'm watching them. So we have done Lightfall. I do need to still go do a suggestion. So I'm going to go do that now while I wait for the kids to come back and while I wait for the kettle for my next tea. And yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I started Jester. Oh, I nearly forgot to mention that I started Jester. Okay, sorry. Back it up a minute. I started Jester by Tim Carter. Just the content warnings page was fabulous. Thank you, Terry. Thank you. This is so much fun already. I think I'm about 20 minutes in. I'm really not far in at all, but I am really liking the bit that I've read. The humor, the dedication was funny, the trigger warnings were funny, and then we got into the book and even that was amusing. I think this is going to be more like an adult version, well, not adult version because the other one wasn't necessarily middle grade, but a more mature version of Wriggly Little Hands by Alex Knight, which I really loved. Like, we've got goblins and we've got that humor and we've got this guy who his job is to clean up shit. Like, he works in a castle and his job, literally, like in medieval castles, you'd have that person that needs to clean up the shit because they didn't have flushing toilets back then. That's his job. And he comes in and he finds that this grand wizard who was an absolute asshole and everyone hated has died, and he has shit himself while he's died. So it's his job to come in and clean it up. And he overhears everyone talking about the fact this guy has been murdered, and it's going to go from there. I am really enjoying the tone of this. I'm really liking the narration style as well. It's super easy to get into. So yeah, while I am sorting out my tea, I'm going to, and lunch for my children, I'm going to listen to a bit more of the audiobook. I'm going to do the suggestion thing on the Magical Readathon Discord, and then yeah, tonight we'll do the reading in the dark. So I will have accomplished, I think, quite a few for the bingo board, and then we'll go check off the bingo board, I guess. I don't really know, I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that yet either. I'm going to have a think. I need to still do my bullet journal as well. I might get some B-roll of that later. So filling out bullet journal, listening to my audiobook, and suggestions are the plan for this afternoon. And then this evening, once it gets dark, I can get some B-roll of me reading at night, and we'll see if I check in at night or not, or if this is going to be a diurnal kind of vlog. I will check back in a bit. Hey vlog, today has not been my day. It's Tuesday. I did check off a load of things off of the bingo board, which I'll go fill out the bingo board and maybe do my bullet journal in a little bit, my Aurelian bullet journal. Last night we had like a really, really bad storm here, and our house flooded. Like, some of our window seals just don't seal anymore. So our house flooded. We had water come down our chimney. We had water come in through like where the windows meet the wall. We did not have a fun time. I did not get any sleep last night. I was up late because I was joining G while she was doing her sprints, and then our power went out, and then I ended up being awoken every few minutes by a child who was suddenly very scared of the dark because we had no electricity. We had no electricity and no water this morning, and then we still had to go out and like do stuff. So it's just been a day. But I am 66% of the way into good spirits now, so I thought it would be a good time to check in. I don't know how much of the stuff that I had planned for today I'm gonna get done in terms of the like non-reading prompts. At least I've gotten a decent amount of reading done. So yeah, I think I'm 68% of the way into good spirits, past the 2/3 mark now. I'm really liking this one. It's got some really good gentle comedy. I'm not really a big fan of kind of humor, but amusing life anecdotes style really works for me, and I'm really enjoying that element. So I'm liking that. I'm liking the way the romance has developed. I like the chemistry and the way the sex is working as well. We haven't had full sex, I guess, if that's what you would want to call it, but we have had a sex scene. I did really think that it was handled well. I think that it did a really good balance of being sexy but also romantic, which suits this couple. I know that some people keep the way they treat each other romantically as different to the way they treat each other sexually. I think with this couple, they needed both, and I think that was done well. I'm enjoying it so far. I don't know necessarily if this is one that I'm going to remember forever kind of thing, but it's a great romance for a Christmas period kind of read. That's exactly what I wanted. It turns out that there's a decent chunk of us. I think we worked out there was about 70-ish people in the sprints yesterday that were reading this book. Myself included. So that was quite amusing. It's like a massive buddy read that we're all doing that we didn't know we were doing. Because it's like a very popular release for this time of year. I'm enjoying my time with it. I just don't necessarily think that it's got anything new, and that's fine. You know, like I don't come to romance to be like, I've never seen this before. I just come to romance to be like, that was fun. And that was cute, and that was romantic, and that was swoon worthy. My friend Esme asked if I was listening to the audiobook because the protagonist is Irish, and she said like the guy actually has an Irish accent, and now I really wish I had the audiobook, but I do not, so ebook it is. But yeah, no, I'm really liking the couple. I mean, they've done a good job with Harriet because she would have very easily fallen into your really typical quirky, clumsy, but not really downtrodden, but perky protagonist that you get a lot in rom-coms. She could have been really generic, but she's not. Like she is and she isn't. She's an archetype, but I like what the author is doing with that archetype. We've got a little bit of grumpy sunshine going on. It's more like I don't think that he's necessarily inherently a grumpy person. I think he's a jaded person because he's been a ghost for 100 years. And he's been one of the ghosts of Christmas. So obviously he is someone who has to normally deal with awful people. So I think that that's also being handled quite well, where it's not someone who is grumpy by nature and they just kind of need to overcome their differences. He is someone who is being brought back to being a fun, vivacious person that he hasn't been in 100 years. And I like that. I like that take on it. So yeah, so far I am having a good time. I'm looking forward to continuing. I basically just stopped reading for a couple minutes so I can update you. And then yeah, hopefully I'll finish that by tonight. I might try and squeeze one of the novellas in as well today, so I am doing a book a day because there were 8 prompts and only 7 days. So I do need to do at least a book a day, and then one day I'm gonna have to do like 2 novellas or something. So the hope is that yes, I'll finish that this afternoon, and then tonight maybe just squeeze one of the 60-page ones in somewhere is the hope. I'm trying to get the big ones over and done with. I haven't listened to any of my audiobooks today. I managed to listen to an hour of it yesterday. I haven't listened to any of it yet today, so I also need to do that. I'll probably listen to that while I'm doing my journal, while I'm filling in my magical readathon journal. My nails are fucked. I did them yesterday, but because of having to clean up all of the water all over my house, my nail varnish has all come off, which has been great. So I want to say on Sunday night, I spent about 45 minutes doing my nails. I normally take my time doing my nails because I used to rush it. I used to be the kind of person that put a coat on when the coat below wasn't fully dry, and then I know that your nails just get all smudgy. But no, this time I wanted to do it properly and take my time with it. And here we are. I still end up with crap nails because the universe hates me. So it's been a day. I'm hormonal as well, so hence why I just want to be reading romance and dying a little bit. But I managed to make myself look presentable, nails aside. I managed to read about I think maybe 20%. I was hoping to get to 50% yesterday, but then we had the power outage, and I'm reading on a e-reader, but not one that's got blue light. So we didn't have any electricity, and my phone was low, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to charge my phone because we had no power. So I ended up just not reading and still not sleeping. I've not had any sleep at all. I'm running on fumes. So I'm gonna go make myself a coffee. I'm gonna go sit and read a little bit more, and we'll see where the day takes us, shall we? Hey vlog, I am back. I didn't get to update you at all anymore yesterday. I did do quite a bit of reading, but we had no electricity until 10 p.m. when we got our electricity back on. We were trying to plan what we were going to do if the electricity stayed off, like what we were going to do with our stuff in our freezer, for example, because we had no freezer. We were worried that things would start going off and all of that. So we're very concerned. I did get a lot of reading done though. It did help with the stress, but I didn't really get any more clips in, and I couldn't have even if I'd wanted to, because I had no like reliable light source, because candles don't really provide the best light. But I did get a battery pack for my phone, so I was able to read on my phone, which meant better lighting. And then the power came back on just before 10, like I said, so then I was able to read a physical book. So let's get to what we've finished in order. So first of all, I did finish Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. I ended up giving this one a 4-star. It's just scraped it on CorePal, like it's like on the lowest you can be to be 4 stars. But I think that's right. Like, it's not reinvented the wheel. It's not anything new. I don't think that it's done anything particularly revolutionary, but I do really like the atmosphere of it. I did find the characters nice and cute and quirky, and most importantly with this one, it made me laugh and it made me cry. I guess that's both all I have to buy. I think that's what I wanted out of a romance. I mean, to be fair, yesterday I was so hormonal and I was so like just not in a good place because of the electricity and everything, that it wouldn't have taken very much to make me cry, to be fair, but like it was just nice and cathartic. I think it's just what I needed yesterday. Like, it came at the right time. I think maybe under other circumstances it might have been more like a 3.5 star, but I think I'm happy with it being a 4-star today because it really got me through yesterday and I needed that. So I don't have a huge amount more to say on it. I think that it wrapped up well. I was curious to see exactly, I knew where it was going to go. I was just curious to see how it would get there. I would have liked a bit more of his backstory. We get so many visits back to her past where we actually see something of significance. So yeah, that's the only, I think, downside to it to me that definitely makes it not like, wow, this is a really good book. It's like, that's the thing that was missing for me. But yeah, I had a great time. I would recommend if you're wanting something this festive season. Like, it suits the vibe of the season, you know? After I finished that, as I said, once we had electricity back, I did pick up The Deal of a Lifetime by Frederick Backman. In this story, we are following a man, a deadbeat dad. He was a terrible father. He was one of those that was only cared about his business and about his work and never did anything to lift a finger for his family. Has a very strained relationship with his son, who he hasn't seen in years, but he is now dying of cancer. And he shares a ward, well, he doesn't share a ward, but he's seen about on the ward, the cancer ward, this little girl who's also dying of cancer. And he then sees basically someone who is like a reaper, like this woman who's in a knitted jumper, who he has seen at various points in his life whenever death is near. He sees her. It's then making a choice about his life and about his legacy, about his relationship with his son, about everything that he has done to get to where he is at and what that means. I think I expected a little bit more from this one than I got, mostly because, and every morning The Way Home gets longer and longer. It's exactly the same format. It's a tiny novella. I think the other one's maybe 80 pages. This one's 60 something pages. But then we have full page illustrations, and then we have other illustrations throughout. They're not very wordy. There's not very much to them. But every day The Way Home gets longer and longer had me sobbing. I cried so hard at that because it felt so relatable to me, I guess, because I've lost 2 grandparents to Alzheimer's dementia type disorders. I guess I was expecting this one to also have me sobbing. And again, yesterday, it wouldn't have taken very much to make me cry. It was so easy to make me cry. I didn't even actually shed a tear. I did get a bit emotional when thinking about the little girl and the interactions that she's having with her mother that he's observing. But other than that, I just didn't get very emotional, which I think was the intention of this, was to have a more emotional impact than it gave me. So maybe for someone who has known someone that has died lonely, or that has died of cancer, or known a child with cancer, or someone who only tried when they knew they were dying, any of those, if it feels relatable to you, then I think that this will be very impactful. But none of those circumstances are relatable to me. I see my dad every day. So therefore, I don't think that I could fully relate to this man and his choices. Him regretting his choices was interesting, but it didn't feel as emotionally impactful as I wanted it to be. So it was a good story, but I don't think I'll think about it again. So I've given it 4. I might lower it to a 3 because I'm yeah, I will never think about this book again. It was a good enough Christmas time. The illustrations were cute. The prose is beautiful. Frederick Backman's a great writer. I just don't think that I will really care about this a month from now. So you win some, you lose some. I have listened to more of Jester. I am now, I don't know because I've got it on 1.5 speed, but I have listened. I've got about 5 hours left of the audio now. No, less. I don't know. I'm a ways in. I think I've got less than 5 hours left on the audio. So again, an hour a day, and I should be fine. I am really liking this story. I think that it's just so much fun, and the inner monologue that we have of our protagonist Shelley, I finally found out his name, his inner monologue, the criticisms that he has of himself and his surroundings, and the way he processes and thinks about things, and how he comes to realizations. It's fun, and the humor, there's some overt humor in there, and then there's some satire in there, and it's balanced out really, really well, and I enjoy listening to it. That's the thing, when I'm putting my makeup on, and when I'm making food, and whenever I'm doing something with my hands and my brain could otherwise be occupied. At the minute, I've been listening to my audiobook, literally to the point where my YouTube watching has fallen behind a little bit. I've been really enjoying listening to this audiobook, so that's been fun. And then I've also now started this morning on Snow Song by Sally Gardner, and this one so far isn't grabbing me, which is weird, right? Because everything about this book says it should be for me. It's giving Eowyn Ivy vibes, that historical folklore mashup of, it reads like historical fiction, but there's just enough of a folkloric feel to it. And the writing style, I think it's a nice prose. I don't have anything, there's nothing I can pinpoint that I have as an issue with the book. I'm just unfussed. I'm just not wanting to pick it up. So I think it's a me thing. I think it's the hormones. I want cheeseburger books right now, and this ain't it. But I'll push through and I'll see how I fare with it. But I do think that however I feel about this one, it's going to be a little bit unfair on the book. But that's how it works sometimes. But I'm liking it nonetheless. It's well written and stuff. I just don't feel very strongly about it. And the romance felt so quick. It was just, she liked the sound of his violin. They talked for a bit and now they want to get married. Given that we need to buy into the fact that she desperately wants to marry him, and we're supposed to be rooting for the fact that she wants to marry him, not the butcher, we could just have it where she doesn't want to marry the butcher. It doesn't need to be that she's in love with this guy that she's only just met, I don't really see the point of the romance yet, aside from it being the fueling force for her to not want to marry the butcher, but she don't want to marry him anyway, even if Demetrius, the love interest, even if he weren't around, she wouldn't want to marry the butcher. So unless it's to give excuse, unless it's that, when you're a girl and when you're in a bar and a guy comes up to you and then you suddenly need like an imaginary boyfriend because he's not going to respect your autonomy, but he will respect competition. Maybe it's that. It's like, or she's actually within a position to say no to the butcher now because there's competition. But even still, like, it's not handled in that way. It's just, oh, she's in love with him, that's why she doesn't want to marry the butcher. And the butcher's awful, so like, you wouldn't want to marry him anyway. I don't know. I'm not having a great time with that. But I am looking forward to seeing how the rest of the characters around her evolve. I'm hoping that we get more of just this town that she's in, if nothing else. So at the minute, not great, but I will persevere and we'll see how I fare. So yeah, I tried out my hair to see how I like it for Christmas. I think I'm gonna have this get up for Christmas, and I just wanted to like see how it looked because I needed to make myself feel a bit better today after feeling so crap yesterday. So I was like, no, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna put my makeup on, I'm gonna do my hair, and I'm gonna see like what being in my cozy jammies feels like. And yeah, that was like my intentions for the day. Also in like my favorite bra. You know, if you're a girl, you've been there, right? Like, we've all got a favorite bra, just the one and only bra that actually feels comfortable and doesn't feel like a torture device. I bought a new bra last time I went shopping and I wish I had 7 of these. I love it so much. I'm taking care of myself with my clothes and with my makeup and with my hair and with my giant coffee. I'm just trying to take it slow. So I'm gonna go continue reading a bit more of Snow Song, and I'll hopefully be able to get back to you with some more thoughts on it soon. For now, I'm gonna go chill. I'm gonna go read. I'll take you along the ride for some B-roll, I suspect. We'll see if I can check off any of the other prompts as well, any of the non-reading prompts. We'll go see what I can do. Alright vlog, so I am now 46% of the way in. I'm not disliking it, there's something about it that feels like this should be almost like new favourite territory. Like, I should love this book, and I'm liking it instead of loving it, and that's frustrating me. I don't connect to any of the characters. There are some interesting ones. I really like the seamstress and her relationship with her brother, the blacksmith. I'm liking that. I do like the setting, like the atmosphere of the setting and the vibe. I'm enjoying that as well. But I don't know, I want to like this book more than I do. I want to connect with it more. I want to care more. And I just feel like I'm making myself read it at the minute, which is not ideal. I am probably not going to have a chance to check in again today. I might do, but probably not, because it is now nearly time for my kids to come home. Again, I'm not checking in when it's dark so that we can actually have nicer footage. So we'll see if I actually manage to check in at all. It's still light in the reading room until about 4, so maybe, but no promises. But yeah, I don't know, I'm fine with it, which is not what I want to feel about a book, you know. I want to love it, I want it to be my whole personality, but if not, I want to just be having a fun time. And at the minute I'm just like, that's nice. You know, I think my biggest problem is that I'm not connecting with the characters. Because again, it's beautifully written, the atmosphere is great, but with this kind of like whimsical fairy tale-like vibe, I think I need to care more about the characters. I feel like an onlooker as opposed to these being people that I know, which is not what I want from this story at all. I want to feel like I'm part of this community, that I'm angry with the characters, that I'm frustrated with the characters, instead of just being a bit, God, this is not nice, is it? You know, all I'm feeling is like, oh, that really sucks for her. And that's it. I don't feel any passion about it, I guess is the thing. I don't have anything more really to say. I think I'm going to go make myself some lunch. I'm going to go clean up, maybe do some tidying around the house because the house is a mess, because my daughter is a chaos gremlin. I literally call her that to her face. She is chaos embodied. The table you are on right now is stressing me out. Now, I'm going to show you. That is what having a 6-year-old daughter looks like. My sons, they're not off the hook. See that lovely desk over there that's covered in Lego. But yeah, I need to tidy this house. This house is absolute chaos. But before I do so, I thought I'd quickly check in and we can go over the bingo board and see what I have or have not accomplished. I filled out my Lightfall pages. So we've got this one that I printed, and then we've got Devantia's pastries. Then we've got the bingo board, and then me filling out the prompts. We've got bake. I'm not going to bake for this vlog. I am going to buy a baked good and reheat it, and I'm going to count that because I am in charge of desserts over the Christmas period. I'm going to be baked out. I'm going to be so sick of baking. I like baking. I love doing it with my kids, but I'm doing baking for Christmas Eve because we need to do cookies so we can leave them for Santa. I'm going to be baking for possibly Christmas Day. We're going to see how full we're all feeling. I'm going to be baking for possibly Boxing Day. I think the dessert for Christmas rolls over to Boxing Day if we don't have it on Christmas. I'm baking for New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, my daughter's birthday, which is in early January, and Reyes, which is like, in England it's Epiphany, but it's the day the three kings came to give presents to Jesus in Catholic culture, and is actually the more important day of Christmas in Spain. Like, that is more a holiday than actual Christmas. That's when they give presents. So I've got a lot of baking to do. I do not need to bake this week. Like, there was no reason for me to bake. So it's like buying ingredients and then the time and the effort of baking, which I'd rather preserve for the holiday period. So I'm going to buy some baked goods and I'm going to reheat them. And that's going to be my baking. And we're going to roll with it. Okay. I haven't filled that yet because I haven't bought baked goods. Read when dark, check. Donate. I'm going to be taking some books with me. Tomorrow I'm going out. I'm going to go get my hair cut and we're going out, and I'm going to hopefully take some books with me and put them in the little free library. None of my charity shops at the minute are taking donations because they're full. Like, everyone's clearly done that before Christmas clear out and they're all full. So I'm going to take it to the little free library in town instead. Whenever there are collections over the Christmas period at our local supermarket, we always donate. So we've already done that, but I'll also donate books because it's bookish. I didn't take videos of that because I didn't feel comfortable taking videos in my supermarket, but I think I'll be by myself by the little free library because it's out on the beach, so hopefully I can do that and it not filming people unwillingly. Play a game. I do want to play a board game on the weekend. We tend to play board games on the weekends with the kids. I don't know which one we'll go with. We've got quite a few. Our normal go-to ones are Ticket to Ride, Catan, or Pandemic. We might also do an adventure book though, because those are fun. I don't know, but yeah, we'll play a board game on the weekend. That's fine. Suggest a book. I did do this yesterday. I went on my Discord. Basically, I put in, look, I need to give suggestions. So we're going to play a game of like, you asked for something really, really, really specific, and I'll see if I can find a recommendation for it. And I completed 3 of those. Light a candle. I spent all of yesterday with only candles. I only had candles. I had no choice. I felt like a Victorian, and not in a good way. So that one is completed. Lightfall ASMR, which I had on Monday, couldn't yesterday. Check in on a friend. I do need to do that. I mean, me and my friend Rachel check on each other frequently. I also check in on Mare and Eleanor quite frequently. But yeah, maybe go check in on a friend I haven't chatted to in a little bit. DIY a card. I do need to do this actually. I might do this today. I will be doing it on Canva and printing it. I can't draw, but I do like making cards, and I do need to make some cards for our neighbors. So I'm gonna go maybe do that. Finish a craft. I'm gonna count this, like putting this together as finishing a craft, because I don't really do crafts. So like, me bothering to put together the journal is the craft, and it will have to do. Hot drink. I mean, I have a hot drink. I have about 4 hot drinks a day because I drink decaf tea. I take it as a free pass to just drink as much tea as I like, because 4 decaf teas is still less than 1 caffeinated tea's worth of caffeine, because there is a tiny bit of caffeine in decaf tea, I believe, but it's so minimal. And yeah, like 4 teas worth of decaf tea is still less than 1 ordinary tea worth of caffeine. So I'll take that. Share your read. I have been posting on my Instagram my reads, so I think that counts. Sweet treat. I mean, I did just have a chocolate yogurt because I fancied one, but I am going out tomorrow, so I'll probably get myself like a waffle in a cafe when I'm out with my nan. I think that would be nice. We've got movie. Fridays are movie night in this family, so we'll be watching a movie on Friday. Stroll. Again, I'm going out tomorrow. I can have a little stroll along the beach so I can put my books in my little free library. And then window shop, which again, I'm going down the main street in town tomorrow, so I can do that as well. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have quite a few of these done by tomorrow, which will be nice. And then yeah, it's just finishing up the reads. I will continue on with Snow Song. Again, I'm not disliking it. I just don't think I'm in the mood for it. I don't know when I would be in the mood for it, but it's definitely not now. You know, I'm not in the mood for it and it's showing, I guess. So I need to go distract myself for a bit. Again, I'm going to play my audiobook. I'm going to go listen to that while I do a bit of cooking and a bit of tidying and a bit of trying not to murder my children, whom I love very much. And then, yeah, maybe sit down and read a bit more of Snow Song. But it doesn't matter. I can take it with me tomorrow while I'm at the hairdressers. So it doesn't matter. I'm not in a rush, is basically what I'm saying. But I can't let it put me in a slump either. But the next one I've got, I think the next one I'll read is a Tessa Dare one to like pull me out of that slump, because I always read her books like super quickly, especially because I've got 2 Spindle Cove ones as well. So it'll be characters. I mean, I won't know the protagonists, but I'll know all the background characters. So that works well for me as well. So yeah, I'll probably read one of the Spindle Cove Tessa Dare ones when I finish this, just to kind of get me back in the game a bit. So yeah, I'm not in a rush for this one. And I've got time while I'm just sat waiting at the hairdressers as well. So it should be okay. I'm telling myself. I'm telling you, but mostly I'm telling myself. Hey vlog, I am back. I have been out today, so not quite as much reading done. I have finished Snow Song, which was the intention. I read most of it yesterday, but I did read a little bit of the end of it when I was at the hairdressers. And I feel like that says everything that you need to know in a way, because normally if I had so few pages that I could fit it in while I'm just waiting for my mum to get her colours done at the hairdressers, I should have read that yesterday. You know, like that shouldn't have taken up, that wouldn't have taken up so much time that I couldn't have fit it in yesterday, and yet I didn't take it to bed with me or anything. So I just read a little bit in the afternoon, and then I was like, oh, I've got 50 pages left, I'll read that at the hairdressers. I didn't have a bad time with this book. It's not a bad book. It's trying really hard to be a bit of an adult feminist story, but also take down your oppressors almost kind of story, which I did appreciate. But I just don't think that I cared enough about the individuals. I understood the message, I understood what the story was trying to say. I just didn't connect with it on like a human level. And I think that with this kind of story, that's necessary. I've said this before, that I don't always need to feel like personally attached to the characters. That's not necessary for me. A good example of this that I've read this year, for example, is Some Desperate Glory. I'll leave the vlog, the spoiler vlog for that linked if you want my full thoughts. But that is one that I did really enjoy, but I didn't really connect with the characters on a particularly emotional level. I cared about the themes and what was being said. So it's not always necessary, but there are certain books where you feel like you should be connecting more to the characters than you are, and then that feels like it's lacking something. So in this case, it's not that I didn't connect with the characters and therefore it's a bad book. It's that I didn't connect with the characters where I felt I should, and that's why I wasn't engaging with it. I can completely understand why people love this book. It's a beautifully written story, and thematically it's very rich. It's trying to do the whole telling a fairy tale with an updated notion of what women's role in society is, of what oppression looks like, etc. Like, I understand on a general level, I understand that this is a good book. It just didn't resonate with me. I just didn't feel connected to it, and therefore I kept not picking it up. I didn't care. You know, I didn't care that I put it down yesterday when it was dinner time and then just never bothered to pick it back up in the evening and then just finished it off today. I had enough to read in a waiting room, so it would have taken me nothing to finish it yesterday, and I just didn't. So that's the level of connection that I had. It was like I was reading it for the sake of reading it, in a way. I didn't dislike it enough to DNF. Like, I've given it, it's scraped 3 stars on Core Pile, and I don't think it deserves less, because it's not a badly written story. It's just one that wasn't for me. The writing style was beautiful, but just not immersive enough. The characters were interesting, but not enough for me to care about them as people. They felt like characters. And that's the thing, you know, and sometimes that happens to me with these fairy tale like ones, especially when they stick to the fairy tale like prose. I think for me, one of the problems with some of the fairy tale like stories is that fairy tales used to be short, right? The whole purpose of a fairy tale was it was short and got straight to the point and had a message. So with fairy tales, none of the characters feel particularly well fleshed out. You know, if you think of a Grimm Brothers fairy tale, you're not going to think, oh, the best character work I've ever read. What is Cinderella's actual personality? What is Snow White's actual personality? They don't really have much of a personality. Even Hansel and Gretel, you know they're children and that he's a bit greedy and they're a bit cheeky, but you couldn't tell me what they're like as people, because that's not the point of the story. So as soon as you turn stories that are meant to have that length into a full-length novel, the primary objective for me is for you to turn those fairy tale like characters into people, and I don't feel like the book did that for me personally, sadly. So again, not a bad book, just not written for me, and that's fine. So now I'm going to be moving on to something that I'm probably going to rate higher, despite the fact that this is not going to be in the same kind of literary sphere, but I'm going to have a better time with it, and that is I'm going to read another Tessa Dare. I don't know which one I'm going to go with. I think maybe Once Upon a Winter's Eve. I think that's one of the Spindle Cove ones. Let's have a look, see what it says. Yeah, this is a Spindle Cove one. This one's following Violet Winterbottom. Do I know Violet? I don't know. She's mentioned in one of the books, but I think it was like mentioning that she'd left. So I'm assuming that this is before that book. This one's 1813. So this has got to be maybe after book 2, possibly? I'm not sure. Book 3 is my favorite in that series. I love book 3. Should I? No. Do I? Yes, it's my favorite Tessa Dare book. This is a novella. It's how many pages? It can't be very long. It's got 10 chapters, so it's got maybe like 100 pages. So yeah, it will take me not very long to read it. So I'm going to read this tonight and I'll check back in tomorrow, because as you can see, the light is fading. I did have a good day out today and I did complete some of the prompts. So I did do the window shopping one, I did do the sweet treat one, I did do the hot drink one, and I did do stroll. So I completed quite a few of the non-reading prompts and ticked one of my reads off. And hopefully, before the night is out, I'll have finished another reading prompt. I haven't actually read any more of Jester today, and that makes me sad, because I'm really liking listening to that. And I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to read any tomorrow either, because like it's my kids' Christmas party thing. And then we're going out with the kids afterwards. So I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to listen to any more of Jester. And that's going to make me sad, because I want to finish that this week. I've been having such a good time listening to it. So I'm going to need to squeeze it in somewhere. But I have been having a good time. So maybe I can try squeezing that in this afternoon, well, this evening now, somewhere, and then try and also read Once Upon a Winter's Eve. Oh, it says here 1.5. Okay, so this one is in between 1 and 2. Okay, that's good to know. All right, well, I'll leave you with that, whatever scrambled mess of an update this is, and I'll hopefully be able to check back in tomorrow. It'll probably be the evening again, let's be honest. So I'll see you tomorrow evening with hopefully multiple updates. I am checking in. It's now actually Saturday. I didn't check in at all yesterday. It was my kids' end of year Christmas party, and then I didn't get home until later than expected, and then I was spending time with my kids, and then it was dark And as we've established, I'm not filming in the dark. We've got a lot to catch up on. Also had a busy morning this morning. We did like a massive clear out ready for Christmas, like, you know, getting rid of kids' stuff that they don't play with anymore and stuff. So it's just been quite a busy morning. So it's now the evening. So I thought I would check in and talk about the things that I have managed to read in between. I have made a little bit of progress in Jester. I am now over halfway into this one and I am having a wonderful time with it. And I think I'm just going to sit and listen to it for a bit longer while I do some like last minute Christmas wrapping and stuff like that. So hopefully I can get another chunk of it listened to, because again, I'm having a wonderful time. I don't really have a huge amount more to say because this isn't the kind of, there's a lot of plot, but it's not the kind of book that is easy to, it's not even that it's not easy to talk about or even that it's easy to spoil. It's just that I'm reading this book for the vibes. I'm reading it for the immersion and the enjoyment and the audiobook experience. So it's not one that I can like pinpoint things. It's like, oh yes, and then this happened or this scene happened, and more just like I'm along for the ride. I'm loving the tone, I'm loving the humor, but I can't really say any one thing that I'm like, yes, this is why I'm reading this book. I'm just loving the overall experience. So it's a difficult one to talk about in that sense because I'm just having a good time, and that's really all I can say. So I'm going to leave it at that, and then maybe when I finish I'll be able to say something a little bit more coherent. I have, however, also managed to, throughout the last couple of days, managed to squeeze in all 3 of the novellas, novelettes that I've read by Tessa Dare. So 2 of these were Spindle Cove ones, the first one being Once Upon a Winter's Eve. This is the story of a young woman who has been living in Spindle Cove. She'd once fallen in love with this guy, was an acquaintance of her family, and then he enlisted in the army once his brother died, and she didn't really hear from him again. They made love, and then he left her. And he just abandoned her. And then she is at this party that is happening in Spindle Cove when a French-speaking man stumbles into the party. And obviously this is during the Napoleonic Wars, so anyone who's French-speaking sounds dangerous. So he stumbles into this party and they're going to question him. And then they use Violet because he's speaking in Breton, which is not like typical French that the rest of the noblemen would know. So then she goes to speak with him, and then she finds out that it might actually be the guy from her past. I didn't like this one. This is, I think, the lowest I've rated a Tessa Dare book. This I gave 2 stars. Not only because it's a novella, so it just didn't feel as fleshed out, but also I really don't like the setup for this. Now, the first Spindle Cove book, because this is Spindle Cove 1.5, so this is in between books 1 and 2. The first Spindle Cove book is my least favourite Tessa Dare novel, like full-length novel. And it's mostly because I don't like the love interest. A lot of these women are kind of quite feminist, at least for the time period. I don't like the love interest in the first one because it feels like what he loves about the protagonist is also something he wants to tame in the protagonist at the same time. And that frustrates me. I don't like reading men like that. I didn't really enjoy him as much as I have all of Tessa Dare's other love interests. Again, my favourite is book 3 from that series. I do like book 2 as well. I like the rest of the series. Book 1 was a rough start. I have similar problems with this one where I just don't like the love interest. Like he's not a good guy. He's not a good person. He's not a nice guy. And I don't think he deserves to get the girl. You know, he even at one point confesses that he had sex with her because he hoped that would make her wait for him. Because back then it would like ruin. Like he didn't care that she could have been pregnant when he up and left. All of this, oh, because he's running away from his feelings. And it's like, I don't fucking care. You know, like he does not deserve to get the girl. I don't know. Not for me. Sadly. I mean, well written, like the sex scenes are still quite hot and stuff, but like I just don't like the guy. So that kind of ruins the romance, you know, when you're like, no, sis, no. I then read another Spindle Cove one, which is Lord Dashwood Missed Out. This one is set after book 4, but before book 5. And we are following a author who penned like a pamphlet of like Lord Dashwood Missed Out because this guy who had been like a family friend she'd known for years, who she thought was going to marry her, then just up and left and decided to become a cartographer and travel around the world instead. So then she was left quite emotionally devastated from it, and she wrote a pamphlet about it, has since become a very successful author, taken off, and so she's going to go do a talk at Spindle Cove. On the way there, she happens to encounter Lord Ashwood, who is the real person that the Lord Dashwood from her pamphlet is based on. He's come back and he's confronting her about the slander to his name. Then the coach breaks down on the way there, and then they're stranded for the night and blah blah blah. I like this one a little bit more. This one's 3 stars. The chemistry was really good, and I did like the romance in this one a little bit more. I didn't find the guy quite so toxic. Like, don't get me wrong, most of the guys in Tessa Dare books are a typical romance level of toxic. I know we shouldn't be romanticizing toxic men, but we're talking about a time period where the bar was very low. I kind of forgive it more than I maybe should, but I liked this one. I had a good time. It's a novella, so, you know, it's a bit quick. I ended up giving it 3 stars. It's not like 4 stars like a lot of the novels are, but I did enjoy my time with it. And then the last one of the Tessa Dare ones that I managed to get to was I also read When She Was Naughty. This one is a standalone novella, and it's literally just this woman who has a tumultuous relationship with the brother of the guy her cousin has just married. So he's kind of like now part of the family, so they spend a lot of time together, and she teases him and he teases her. Then she sends him a like hideous vest, like waistcoat thing, pretending that it's a family tradition that everyone wear this hideous waistcoat to this ball that they do annually. It turns out that she's not, she's just trying to like show him up and make him look bad. So then he kind of like professes his love for her, and that all of the scrutiny that he's had of her is actually because he is constantly paying attention to her, and then it's about them falling in love with each other and her realizing that she's been in love with him, and it's that kind of thing. It's 60 something pages. It's not very long. I really enjoyed this, but it's a scene, 2 scenes really. It's at the ball and then the next day, and that's it. There's not a huge amount to it. So I liked it. Like, I've given it 3 stars. I have no problem with it, but it's not one that means anything. You know, it's just a quick little novelette really. So it doesn't have enough meat on its bones to be significant, but it was a fun, quick read and it fulfilled the prompt. Which means that then I now literally only have 1 prompt left to fulfill. So that is, I'm going to be reading Spellbound and Ever After. This is 2 books in here. Spellbound is this one, and then Ever After is the second one. So I'm going to go sit and hopefully read a little bit of this now, and then I'll finish it tomorrow and I'll be able to check back in and we can wrap up this vlog. I'm excited to get to this because I do really like Nora Roberts' romances. I do think they're quite whimsical and ethereal, but also they're normally contemporary. I think this is contemporary. I'm hoping that I have a good time with these nonetheless, and when I check back in later, I will have something to say. Hey vlog, checking in for the last time because I have in fact finished Spellbound and Ever After by Nora Roberts. I read Spellbound yesterday, and this is following Kaylin, who has really vivid dreams of like a medieval time in which he is like this sword wielding knight and he has to get to his beloved, and then he decides to go to Ireland, which is where the dreams are kind of like pulling him to go see what it's all about. And while he's there, he meets this woman who proclaims that they are like lovers from a different time period and that they are destined to be together. And he doesn't really believe her at first, and it's how the two come to realize that they are star-crossed lovers, or whatever you want to call them. I liked that one. I did like the setting. I do think that she did a good job of creating a really vivid setting. It's really easy for, I think, Americans to have this idealized version of Ireland, but in this case it actually is applicable because we're seeing it through the eyes of an American photographer. So it would be someone who would be going over there with this idealized notion, I guess, of what Ireland would look like, and he would be searching specifically for that. Not to mention that it just suits the whimsy of the romance. So I think that that was handled well. It's a novella, so I don't feel very strongly about it, but I think the romance was beautiful. I think that the whimsy in there and the etherealness was conjured really well, and I did really enjoy that. Today I have read Ever After. I've actually only just finished it because it's been a bit of a hectic day, but I did read this one, and we're following Elena, who is a young woman who she ends up marooned basically on an island, and she's with this man who has a very tumultuous past, and she needs to stay with her rescuer while she awaits to be able to leave and discover their pasts, and we discover their relationship, and we get shown the way they feel about each other. I guess it's kind of also a conversation about destiny, about forgiveness, about grief. I did really like that one as well. I think that the emotional stakes were interestingly built and presented, especially given the short amount of time that we have to discuss those things. And I think that they were quite well fleshed out characters. I think it really benefited from having an incredibly small cast of characters. Both of them really suited having only basically the couple and then some periphery people that don't really matter, because the whole story is literally only focusing on them. And I think for the length of it, it was handled quite well. I'm not a huge novella person, as is evidenced by yesterday's update and by today's. Novellas really aren't for me unless they are quite thematically to the point. For example, The Deep by River Solomon, Hex by Jenny Fagan, To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers, those suit me. But ones that are like the romance ones that it's for the vibes, I actually prefer them to be, I don't like really long ones, and I've already said before I don't like really long series of romance. I think between the 250 and 350 page mark is my sweet spot for a romance. So this is just, they just fall a little bit short in that regard, but I do think they were really well handled and presented well. I think I'm going to rate the whole bind up because I'm not going to rate the stories individually. I think I'm going to give it 3 stars on Goodreads. I think that the first one is like a 3.5 and the second one's a 3-star, and I'll just give them both 3 stars for the bind up. Let's go through the bingo board and see what I've managed to achieve. So first of all, bake. I didn't bake, but I did buy a cookie and reheat it. So I'm gonna take that because I did need to heat it up, and as I said, I'm not doing any baking this week because I've just got too much on. We've got read when dark, which I accomplished on like the first day. Donate. I have donated stuff to the local clothes bank here that you can just leave clothes that get sent to people in need, and also at my supermarket. We've played a game. We played the Lord of the Rings adventure board yesterday. I played it with my husband and my son. I didn't get any b-roll because I was playing it with my son and I don't film my children, but I did do that. Suggest a book. I did my suggest hyper-specific books thing on my Discord. Light a candle. I had a whole day where the only light I had was candlelight. Blue book was this one. It was Spellbound and Ever After. 4+ star rating was Good Spirits. 300 to 400 pages was Snow Song. Lightfall ASMR. I've done multiple days with that. Check in on a friend. Again, I check in on my friend Rachel quite frequently, and I check in on my parents all the time. Like I check on people all the time. Standalone was When She Was Naughty, I think. Then we've got Free Space. Cozy is Once Upon a Winter's Eve. DIY a card. I did cards for my neighbours. Finish a craft. I counted the journal as a craft. Winter setting is Deal of a Lifetime. New release is Jester. White is Lord Dashwood Missed Out. Hot drink. I have a hot drink literally every single day. We'll count the fancy hot chocolate that I had the other day. Share Your Read. I've been sharing them every day on Instagram. Sweet Treat. We're going to have my Kindle waffle for that one because stunning. Movie. We did watch a movie last night. We watched The Secret Life of Pets. Don't even. Stroll. I did take a stroll after I went and got my hair cut. And window shop. I've been window shopping twice. So that's all completed. I did manage to complete the entire bingo card. I do need to go fill out the remaining reads and maybe do a statistics page. I feel like that was a very successful Lightfall. I'm very happy with what I've managed to accomplish, and the reads were interesting. I wouldn't necessarily say that anything aside from Jester. Oh, I didn't wrap up Jester. I still have half an hour left of Jester, but I still have 6 hours of the day left, so I will definitely be finished with that before wrapping up this vlog now. I will have finished Jester. I presume this is going to get at least a 4.5 stars. I think that the pacing of this one is really, really well done. Epic fantasy with standalones a lot of the time really do struggle, I think, to keep my attention because the pacing tends to go really wonky because it can't decide how much world building it wants to do. This one is perfect, just knows exactly what it is and it's leaning right into that, and I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, a good last book, I guess, to finish the vlog on. It's the one that I've been listening to literally all week. I don't know really how I would rank these books, but let's give it a try. I'm going to put Jester at the top. Again, not finished it, but I'm going to put it at the top. Then the next one would be, it's got to be Good Spirits, actually, which just, I would have never thought it would be Good Spirits. Then it would be Deal of a Lifetime. and that's a big jump down. Then it would be Lord Dashwood Missed Out, Spellbound and Ever After, then When She Was Naughty, then Snow Song, and then Once Upon a Winter's Eve. We're gonna go with that. That's the order I'm putting these in. I had a good time. I'm glad that I finished Lightfall. I am actually staying with the same character for Magical Readathon. I'm gonna put her back through uni instead of creating a new character, so that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, my character is completely done now with the first 4 years, so I'm looking forward to starting a new career. Let me know if you've read any of these and your thoughts on them. Let me know how your Lightfall went if you did take part in Lightfall. Let me know what your favourite winter setting book is down in the comments below. And that is all from me for today. So thank you ever so much for watching, and I will hopefully catch you in another one soon.